What's up, y'all? I've got you back out here in the garage to start off another fun video. As you can see, we've got something to hit the water with again. Very cool new boat here. We're looking at an Oxidean Marine Dominator that I actually picked up off of eBay. Now, this is the carbon Kevlar weave version. As you can see, this is sure enough carbon Kevlar fibers here with a clear epoxy. This isn't graphics or paint or anything. This is the raw carbon Kevlar you're looking at. Absolutely beautiful looking weave on this thing. Your seam on the hull there, almost invisible. This is an incredibly nice boat right here. I've got something loose inside. I've been messing with some stuff. Look at that. This thing is nearly flawless, y'all. I mean, well, it is flawless. The hull is absolutely flawless. It's like brand new. The guy I bought it from on eBay, the listing said, had only put it together and ran it one time, and that's it. And I absolutely believe it because this hull looks absolutely brand spanking new. Now, this is a 33-inch long V-hull, which is why I'm having to pull you back. Can't really fit it in the picture. Y'all know my sonic wake is 36, so this is just 3 inches shorter. Transom width is like 10.5 inches. That's actually exactly the same as the sonic wake, but the sonic wake kind of has a little bit of a hip that comes out before it goes back in, whereas this Dominator goes from that 10.5 transom, just a smooth taper all the way to the front. Now, one thing I can tell you, being that this is carbon Kevlar, is you talking about some extremely lightweight, incredibly lightweight. I want to give you a close up there. Check that out, y'all. That's the raw carbon Kevlar. This thing is absolutely beautiful, incredibly lightweight and very strong. But he sells his boats in a few different ways. You've got the ready to run, the almost ready to run, where you just basically add your radio equipment, and then hull and hardware, which I'm assuming is what this is when the guy bought it, because it's got the hull and it's got the Oxidean, all nice hardware on the transom, but the electronics inside are a complete new Spektrum setup. Well, let's take a quick look at the transom back here first. Again, very nice, all aluminum stuff, or your rudder, your prop shaft here, your stinger, everything's all aluminum turn fins. Now, it's got some smaller turn fins. I think this is all going to be fine though. The only thing that's not Oxidean are the trim tabs here. He switched these out for some, looks like maybe some longer ones. They do have some nice adjustability, so I'm probably just going to leave those like they are. And then the prop he's got on it is a Grim Racer. It came with this, a Grim Racer 42 by 55. Really nice surface area on this prop, so I'll be curious to see what it does. This is basically like obviously 42 millimeter and like a 1.3 pitch ratio, I believe. Now, there are actually a couple things on here that I'm going to adjust or change before I even run it for the first time. One of them is this rubber grommet right here. It looks like it's kind of half torn and wore out, plus it's hanging down below this ride pad. One very nice thing about these Oxidean hulls is they're not a complete pointed V. It's got like a flat ride pad right here on the V, all the way to maybe like, I mean, way up here. So that'll be really cool to get that thing up on plane. But again, this rubber is kind of hanging down. I don't want that turbulence. So I'm probably just going to trim that off and use some silicone to seal that up. And then taking a look inside here, you can see it's not the Oxidean Marine electronics like I mentioned, but it's brand new Spektrum Smart stuff here, which I actually really like. For the ESC, you've got their 160 amp model. And then for the motor here, we've got a 4068 size 1600 kV. So we'll be able to run this thing on 6 and 8S. So lots of different options for props and all that kind of stuff. Now, as far as the servo, that's another thing I'm going to change out immediately. It's just got old Traxxas 2056. I think y'all know just the standard blue Traxxas servo. It claims to be waterproof, but it's only like, I think 80 ounces or something like that, and plastic geared. I'm going to put one of these eBay specials, the 25 kgs. These things are like, they claim to be, I think that equals, if you go to ounce inches, that's like 340, almost 350 ounces. Now, is it really that? I don't know, but it's all waterproof and metal geared. So I actually have a little more faith in this than I do in that blue Traxxas. And he did also send this thing with a receiver and transmitter. It was totally ready to run. A little Spektrum SR3100 here, and I think it's a DX2E transmitter or something like that, but I'm not going to use this. I've got a couple of these SR315s sitting around here, so these are smart ready, so I'm going to put this thing right right here in it so I can have all my onboard telemetry. A couple other last little small things I'm gonna do since I'm gonna pull this flex shaft. He said he already done it and greased it, and I don't think he's lying or anything, but I'm just gonna make double sure. It's got a wimpy little drive dog on it, so I've got this nice one, a big fat one that's tapered down, so I'm gonna put that drive dog and probably add that bullet on it just to make it look fancy. All right, y'all, it's actually the next day for me. I actually had some stuff come up that I had to do, so I couldn't get this finished. I got everything buttoned up now though, so let me show you what I actually did before we go out there and run it. As far as back here on the rear, I already told you what I was gonna do. So I got this change right here. I put a different drive dog on it so it's nice and streamlined all the way down. And then on the bottom there, you can see I got rid of that hanging down piece of old grommet and just put some silicone so it's all nice and hardened up. I think that'll do me really nice, keep it sealed up so no leaks. I'm staying with this Grim Racer prop for now. I did shine it up a little bit with a little mother's polish, you can see, just to get that tarnish off. And that's really all I did back here on the back end. I had to redo this, but I'll show you inside. Now, as far as the trim tabs on this thing, they're actually a little bit up from the bottom of the surface. The bottom edge right here is probably a millimeter, 1.5 millimeters up. Probably gonna have to bring that down, but I'm gonna leave it like it is for now just to see what kind of attitude it has. And then looking under the hood here, I definitely made some changes. First change is gonna be to the hood itself. You can see I've got it hooked together here with the hull. I actually hot glued a little piece of foam in there too, so in case this comes off. If y'all didn't notice, there's no hold downs for these hatches, and it's supposed to be that way. You just use some tape to hold these down, so I wanna make sure it floats in case it comes off. And I've got some of these camera tethers. I've got one here and one on the other side with a piece of twine in between them, so just in case it does come off, we've got secure hatch there. And then looking inside here, you can see I did change out that servo. Now this servo's a good bit bigger than that Traxxas and most other kind of standard, I guess you would say, that aren't real high torque. So with the way this tray is built, it's got a little bit of a lip. I don't know if y'all gonna be able to even see it. You might can see it now. It's got a little bit of a lip right there, and the same thing right here. The other servos kind of sit down up against that, but this one I had to move it up above that, so I just cut a couple little pieces of 1/4-inch aluminum flat bar and put up under there as a spacer. Everything's lined up perfect now though. This is really nice and smooth both left and right action, no binding or anything, so really happy with that. I did change out my receiver like I said I was going to. I've got the SR315. I've got it double-sided tape up under the edge here. I've got some little waterproof receiver boxes coming, so I'll probably move that down there when those come in. And then you can see my battery situation here. I run Spektrum smart batteries just because I'm already invested in that whole ecosystem. I've got a bunch of these 3S 5000 100C packs for my cars and stuff, so I'm gonna use these for 6S. These battery straps are really big. I've got to get me some shorter battery straps for sure. It's so much extra that I had to put a piece of pool noodle up under these batteries right here. They're holding pretty tight. They're a little bit wobbly because of that pool noodle, but not a whole lot. And I've got them pushed all the way forward against those pool noodles up here in the hole. So I'm gonna use that for 6S, and I've got the 4S of the same thing, 5000 100C smart batteries. I've got those on charge now for the 8S runs. But other than that, all I did was bind it up to my transmitter and greased up this shaft. I'm glad I did because it had some grease in there, but it was so brown, oily looking grease. So I've got it stuffed nice and full with some marine grease, so should be smooth running. But that's plenty of talking about it. Let's get this thing out on the water and see what it can do. All right, y'all, made it out here to the lake. I've already got it all taped up. That's one thing I really don't like, is having to tape these holes. You can see I'm tracking there. Everything's good to go. It's a beautiful day out here too. Right now I'm on a 6S, of course. I got that 4255, 4355, whatever it was. I think 4255 Grim Racer. So we're gonna see what this does out here today. I might change to some other props, just depending on how things go. If I didn't mention, this is the non-self-riding version, so I'm definitely going to try to be careful out here. And I just drug my rudder on the ground, I believe, so I'm going to try to be careful. I've got my tugboat, but ooh, she's tracking left big time. All right, I think I got it kind of straightened out here. Oh, it's super wet. I need to trim it or do something. My batteries are all the way forward. I mean, I've got up angle on the trim tabs. Shoot, this thing turns tight. Let me see if my trim is actually right. It's going a little bit right. Let's see what kind of speed that was right there. I didn't even start the thing, y'all. Let's actually start the GPS this time. So we're reading right now, and we'll see what we get. I've definitely got to do some kind of tuning because this thing's running super wet out here. It turns really nice in both directions, but that's probably because it's running so wet. It's actually tracking straight. That seems pretty fast though, even to be running wet. Yeah, that thing's rolling. Let's bring her back in, see what that was. All right, are we tracking? I don't know if we're tracking just yet. Yeah, there we go. Tracking now, stop, read. 46, yeah, so that's pretty slow out here. Let me see what I can do to fix this thing. All right, just out of curiosity, I just didn't change any tuning. I've switched to this 1716 prop, and I actually forgot that, I could run this on 8S, and this is only a 1600 kV motor, so this probably actually stands to reason what I'm getting right now, but this prop right here ought to wake it up some. All right, we're tracking. I got it started. Let's see what we can do with this prop. I got a feeling this is gonna be a pretty big difference right here. Whoo, she's definitely pulling to the right. It's pulling to the right hard. Yeah, I think I got it trimmed some. Still pulling to the right though. Shoo. It's a big difference as far as steering. Speed wise, can't really say. I think she's riding a little bit lighter. It's hard to say. Let's bring it in after that right there. See what that thing's running right there. Tracking, stop, read. 47, so yeah, we're gonna have to up some voltage here. All right, I got it swapped over to 8S now. Both of those 4S packs, got her taped back down good. Got the GPS already started. We're tracking right. Well, let's start actually. All right, now we're started. We're tracking, as you can see, 33.3 volts, so we should be ready to roll. I'm keeping this 1716. I left the batteries at the front too. I don't know how this is going to affect it with all this extra voltage, so before I go moving a whole lot, we're going to see what it does. I'm thinking we should see a pretty drastic difference. I didn't mention too the turning difference between those props. It wasn't because of the props. I actually kicked my rudder up doing this right here on that first toss, and it had messed my steering up. So let's see what we get. Tracking on the GPS with 8S and the Pro Boat 1716 prop. This thing should actually rock. Ooh, she started doing a little back and forth, a little teeter-totter there. All right, that was definitely wide open. Let's see what we got. She's doing a little teeter-totter, and it's definitely getting it up out of the water some more. I'm pulling a little bit though. I need to see what's going on with that trim. All right, tracking again, stop, read, 62. So now we're getting there for sure. Let's do one more run with this prop just to verify that. All right, we got her tracking again. I'm gonna try to trim this steering really straight too. That's pretty straight right there. Well, let's get her out there. See what happens. I'm gonna probably end up having to trim this thing to get really good speed. Whew, that thing was rolling right there though. Let's bring her back this way. That thing was moving right there, y'all. Bring her over here, see what that did. Temp wise, 129. I don't know, I think that's motor. EFC looked like 123 right there. All right, we're tracking, stop, read, 63. So I'm still right there where I was on my Sonic wake on 6S. So I'm definitely not reaching the potential here. My temps are way low and everything. All right, we're gonna give this thing one more try here. I actually topped off our batteries here. I brought some real power to this thing. This was actually sent to me by this company here. I've got to do a video on that thing. Very, very nice. I've got the 8S in here still. 4514 is what I've got on here now. Stainless steel 4514. I'm just real curious here. I did put my batteries as far back as I could. Not a whole bunch of difference, but I'm not doing any tuning out here. I'll try to mess around with some stuff at the house depending on what we end up with. All right, I'm very curious to see what this prop does. It's not high rake, but we should get some good speed. I've got the GPS started out here, so let's see what happens. Kind of pulling left. We got some chop going now, of course. I've done run out of my clear glassy water. This one definitely gets you up to speed faster. Woo, she was rocking. All right, let's see what that did. What kind of speed we got. All right, we are tracking, stop, read, 62, so about the same speed there. I definitely need to do some tuning on this thing. I know we've got more speed than that. All right, I changed my mind. One last run here. I actually had a set of 3S packs, so we're running it on 6S for this last little run. Got you some on board here too. I switched back to the Pro Boat 1716 because we know that does 65 on the Sonic Wake, so we'll see what it does out here with this. I've got the batteries all the way back. Still hadn't changed anything as far as trim tabs. Let's see what she does here with the big prop on 6S. Trimmed out pretty good, a little bit to the left. Yeah, definitely not real fast with that prop on a 6S with this boat. Just because of that 1600 kV motor would be my guess. Why we're seeing a whole lot difference. I think that Sonic Wake has like 22 or 20, 21 maybe, 19, somewhere around 2000. And this thing's, I tell you one thing about this Dominator though, as far as turning, look at that. I mean, on a dime. Watch this. On a dime, buddy. Go back right or left, either way you want to go. Let's see what these temps are looking like here. 102, 102. Oh yeah, we're good. That's one thing about this though, it's a whole lot different as far as temps. The Sonic Wake running ovals with this prop, it heated it on up. It started to hit 150, but this right here has no problem. It's just a whole different story. This thing gets down, y'all. I definitely need to do some tuning though to get this speed where I want it. We got to get this little Kevlar Dominator rolling. See what kind of speed we ended up with there. I'm sure that's not fast. That looked about 45-ish or so. Yeah, 46. That's about what I figured. I'm not really concerned about the speed actually. Let's just do a couple more runs. Temp 125. Yeah, I ain't a bit worried about that. Ooh, we ain't got much on these batteries though. Let's see, what am I at on my batteries? 3.8. Let me make a couple more little ovals and then we'll call it for today. I definitely got to figure out my tuning when I got a little more time out here. This video's gotten so doggone long already. I don't want to sit out here doing little minor tuning. But one thing about this Dominator, it handles way better than the Sonic Wake. I mean, I can take super tight turns. Look at that right there. Super tight. And then you can cut it back the other way. Look at that. Thing's like a little sprint jet boat. All right, y'all, check this out right here. I mean, these temps are nothing. I could have run, if the pack had more juice, I mean, 130, you know, that's not nothing, but 120. I mean, this is that high rake prop that had my Sonic Wake up to the 150s. I mean, it's a big difference, I'm assuming, just because it's 1600 kV. So I think that's my problem. I've got to figure out, you know, my inexperience with messing with these RC boat props. I need to figure out what my best setup for this 8S, which prop is definitely the best, and then that way I can tune off of that prop. So if any of y'all boaters out there know for sure what I need to be doing with this 1600 kV setup to get this thing up in the 70s at least. If I can get in the 70s, I'm fine with that. So let me know in the comments, any of y'all that got any ideas. I appreciate the heck heck out of all y'all watching. I'm gonna cut this one off here because I know it's gotten real long. So stay tuned for a whole lot more cool stuff, and I'll see y'all soon.